Major League Baseball's virtual network brings you coverage of this NL East matchup tonight. It's the New York Mets taking on the Atlanta Braves. There's Ronald Acuna Jr., one of baseball's best players this season, and you'll see him in this game tonight. There's Sean Newcomb on the mound for the Braves. His ERA's a bit high, but his record's 4-3 in 10 starts. Has pitched 46 2/3 innings. And leading off for the Mets is Jake Marisnick.
Leading off the afternoon for the Mets.
This ball game will get underway.
Jake Marisnick.
And the game's first pitch, excuse me, the game's first pitch is a strike. The count's 0-1. The Braves are third in the National League East. They're 27-26, playing under what was expected of them this season. They were the division winners last season. The Mets have struggled for the past few seasons, and they're in last place right now in the NL East. Swing and a miss, counts 1-2. Marisnick batting .290 on the season. He's a platoon center fielder. He signed in the offseason. Former Houston Astro. But he typically plays center field when a lefty's starting on the mound, and Brandon Nimmo plays center typically when a righty starts on the mound because Nimmo's a left-handed hitter.
3 balls, 2 strikes.
Counts full, 3 balls and 2 strikes. Here's Newcomb's pitch. Swing and a miss. Got him. That's how the game begins. Jake Marisnick strikes out.
Batting second, the left fielder, number 6.
Yeah, just a well-placed pitch up in the zone. A little bit higher than the strike zone, though. It was up by his eyes. Got him to chase. And with 1 out, here's one of the game's best contact hitters, Jeff McNeil. McNeil made his Major League debut in 2018. He came up as a second baseman, but when the Mets acquired Robinson Cano in 2019, McNeil had to improvise, become versatile, and he's moved around. He can play third base, left field, right field, be a first baseman as well. And he's got a valuable bat. Not much of a power hitter, but contact is really the name of his game. That's where he succeeds the most, by making contact and hitting for average. He was also one of the finalists in the Players League. That finished up in late April as he swings and misses at that pitch, and there are now 2 outs. Newcomb starting this day off well. He's got a couple strikeouts to begin the ball game. Yeah, that jammed McNeil. That looked to be inside. He couldn't get extended or make contact. And now with 2 outs, that'll bring up Pete Alonso. Alonso hit more home runs than anybody in baseball last season, and he also broke a record. Last season was his rookie season. He hit 53 home runs, which passed Aaron Judge's 52 total from 2017. So Pete Alonso now in the record books for having the most single-season home runs as a rookie. He has 11 to start this year. As he chops that pitch foul, the count's 1-2. One of the best power hitters in the game, and he's emerging. Hoping to help out the Mets. As he checks swings, but the home plate umpire says he committed. And Sean Newcomb strikes out the side to begin the ball game. Marisnick strikes out, McNeil strikes out, and Alonso strikes out. Going to the bottom of the first inning, it's the Mets 0 and the Braves coming to bat. Here's Steven Matz on the mound for the Mets in this one. Roughly the same ERA as Newcomb. It's in the 5s, but his record not as good, 1-4 in 10 starts. He's pitched 54 2/3 innings. He's been a veteran arm, and he's pitched well in years past. He's somebody that the Mets have relied on to help bolster the rotation, but as this season, the Mets as a team, it's not one aspect of their game. The Mets have, just as a team in every aspect have struggled this season. It doesn't help either that the NL East is a competitive division. The Mets are 5.5 games back of the Nationals for first place. As that pitch misses low. The Nationals are in first with a 29-22 record. They're tied with the Phillies for first place. They each have the same record. Then the Braves are 27-26. They're 3 games back in third place. The Marlins are tied with the Braves with a 27-26 record. They're also 3 games back, tied for third. And then you have the Mets with a 24-28 record, 5.5 games back. And the Mets are the only team in the NL East with a winning percentage under 500. So it's been tough to play in the NL East. 2-2 pitch coming to Ronald Acuna Jr. Popped up. Shallow center field. The outfield was playing him back, but Marisnick's able to run that one down. That's the first out of this bottom of the first inning. And with that, we'll take a look at the starting lineup for the Braves. Marcell Ozuna, newly signed after this offseason, as was Travis d'Arnaud. But Ronald Acuna Jr. there at the top of the order, somebody to highlight. He started April leading most categories, and he led most categories heading into May, although he slowed down a bit, but he still leads the National League in a number of categories, one of which includes home runs. He's the first player in the National League to reach 20 home runs. But here's Ozzie Albies now, switch hitter batting from the right side of the plate. His average has not been too high since the season began. It's 184 entering play. And he hits that pitch out to right field. Catch made by Michael Conforto, and that's out number 2. So 2 quick outs to begin the bottom of the first inning. That'll bring up the number 3 hitter and arguably the franchise face of the Braves, Freddie Freeman. Tied for third in the National League and runs batted in. He has 38. Also has left the ball yard 13 times. The ball yard. He's hit 13 home runs this season. And he takes strike 1 from Steven Matz. The Mets may be struggling a bit more this season as well because they lost one of their top arms in Zach Wheeler to free agency. He signed with the division rival Phillies. And also Noah Syndergaard had surgery on his arm, so he won't pitch at all in 2020. Lined into left center field. That's the first hit of the ball game for either side. Freddie Freeman's aboard with a 2-out single. Take a look at this. Freddie Freeman, good at using all parts of the field, as is any good hitter that hits. But he's aboard. 2-out single. Here's Marcell Ozuna. Ozuna 3 hits away from 1,000 career hits. He's playing in his first season with the Braves. He came up with the Marlins in 2013, played there until the Marlins had their trade rebuilding stage happening as Marcell Ozuna singles that one into center field. Back-to-back hits with 2 outs off Steven Matz. But with the Marlins rebuilding, they traded away some of their biggest pieces in the 2017-2018 offseason. Ozuna was one of them. So he went to the Cardinals, played there for a couple seasons, and then signed with the Braves this offseason. Speaking of free agent signings, here's Travis d'Arnaud. That's ball 1. d'Arnaud batting .303 with 5 home runs and 18 RBIs. d'Arnaud used to be the catcher of the New York Mets. However, the Mets signed Wilson Ramos, and they dealt d'Arnaud off to Los Angeles to play for the Dodgers. The Dodgers kept him for a few games and then traded him to the Rays, where he really had a breakout season and earned a healthy contract from the Braves this offseason. Grounds out there, Ahmed Rosario throws to Cano covering, and that ends the first inning. The Braves get no runs on 2 hits and leave a couple runners on base. After 1 full inning of play, it's the Mets 0 and the Braves 0.
the second baseman.
You're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network, brought to you by MLB The Show 20. I'm Nicholas Callis. Middle of the Mets order scheduled to bat: Robinson Cano, J.D. Davis, and Michael Conforto.
Nope.
Robinson Cano, second baseman of this team. He's previously played for the New York Yankees and the Seattle Mariners. The Mariners were looking to rebuild, so in the 2018-2019 offseason, Cano and Edwin Diaz were dealt to the Mets for some prospects.
Nope.
And Cano's continuing to age. Edwin Diaz also, after having quite a year in 2018 with the Mariners, all the saves he had and just dominating out of the bullpen, he struggled with the Mets in 2019, especially giving up the long ball. That was something that he did frequently. So the Mets, even though they've been acquiring players and developing players well, they're still looking to find that missing piece to push them into playoff contention. They made the playoffs in back-to-back years last decade, in 2015, where they went to the World Series, lost to the Royals, and in 2016, they made it as a wild card team and lost to the Giants. Cano swings and misses. That's out number one. That's Newcomb's fourth strikeout.
The third baseman.
I mean, he started this game off well. He struck out the side in the first. Now here he is in the second. Let's take a look at all four strikeouts so far. There's Jeff McNeil swinging and missing. Pete Alonso chased an outside pitch, tried to hold back the swing, but that ended the first, and then that breaking ball was cut on and missed by Cano. Four straight strikeouts. First out of the second. Now here's J.D. Davis. Davis, a former member of the Houston Astros, made his debut with that team a few years ago, but now playing for the Mets. The Mets still moving pieces around. J.D. Davis is naturally a third baseman, but the Mets trying to have him play left field as well, just to continue to promote versatility on the team. He pops out there to Dansby Swanson. That's out number two. And that is the first hitter to make contact with a pitch in fair play, from the Mets side at least. Now with two outs, here's Michael Conforto. Conforto made his debut in 2015. He's been with the Mets ever since. Swings at the first pitch and hits it out toward left center field, and the shift might help the Braves here. Yeah, Ozuna makes the catch in the gap, and that ends the top of the second inning. No runs, no hits, and nobody left on for the Mets in that half inning. Moving to the bottom of the second, no score. You're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network, brought to you by MLB The Show 20. I'm Nicholas Callis. The bottom of the second inning getting underway. Ender Inciarte to lead off for the Braves. He'll be followed by Johan Camargo and Dansby Swanson. Swing and a miss. That's strike one. Ender Inciarte, former Arizona Diamondback. He's been the center fielder of the Braves for a few years, though. In years past, he's been a good contact hitter and played well defensively in center. He hits that pitch in front of Jeff McNeil. That's a leadoff single for the Braves, and that's the third hit for the team. They kind of reached out for that pitch. It was toward the outside part of the plate, and he was just able to dunk it into left center field. Now here's Johan Camargo. Switch hitter batting from the right side of the plate. And Camargo has struggled, and he's in a bit of a predicament now. The Braves have a third baseman in the minor leagues, one of their top prospects, Austin Riley. And with Camargo's lack of production, it is possible that he could lose his job. Batting 186 entering play. 1-0 pitch from Steven Matz. Breaking ball fouled off. The count's even 1-1. One pitch. On the ground and foul. Now the count's 1-2. No score in inning number 2. Ender Inciarte on first base. Just missed outside. Well-placed pitch by Matz, but good discipline by Camargo. Counts even. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Lined and fouled down the left field line. The count's still even 2-2. Tied for third place team in the NL East, the Braves playing the fifth place team, the Mets. That's down low and the count's full. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Also, this is game 3 of a 3-game series between these two. The Mets won on Friday and the Braves won yesterday, so this is the rubber match. That's ball 4. Couple of base runners on to lead off the bottom of the second. And with that, Dansby Swanson will come to the plate. Dansby Swanson batting .345 on the season. And that average is good for third best in the National League. He's behind his teammate Ronald Acuna Jr., who has a .347 average, and then David Dahl of the Rockies has a .370 average. Swanson's also been an on-base machine so far this year as he takes strike 1. Dansby Swanson is the league leader on on-base percentage. He has a .447 on-base percentage. Ronald Acuna Jr. is the next best at a .433, so there's still a large margin that Swanson has for the on-base percentage lead in the National League. Here comes the 0-1 pitch. That's inside, called a strike, counts 0-2. Swanson's been the starting shortstop of the Braves for quite a while now. He grounds that pitch toward the middle, lets Cano playing it, steps on the bag himself, throws to Alonso at first. Out at second is Camargo, and out at first is Swanson. So Matt's able to get himself out of imminent danger with that double play, but there's still a runner on third, 2 outs. And the number 9 spot in the order, Sean Newcomb coming to the plate. That's Ender Inciarte on third base. First pitch to Newcomb, and that's a strike. Counts 0-1. Could have been a much more dangerous situation if Swanson had gotten on base there, but ground ball got the job done for the Mets. And Newcomb quickly behind, no balls and 2 strikes. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Just inside, counts 1-2. Ooh, we got out in front of that one, a 94-mile-per-hour sinker. Gets pulled into the seats foul. The count's still 1-2. 1-2 pitch. Again, he was in front of that. It was another sinker. Newcomb really piecing together a quality at bat. 1-2 pitch. One more time. Got him swinging on that one. Another sinker, but he swung and missed, and that ends the second inning. The Braves get a hit and a walk, but only leave 1 on base after a double play was hit, and no runs scored. Going to the third inning, it's still no score here at Truist Park. You're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network, brought to you by MLB The Show 20. I'm Nicholas Callis. Sean Newcomb has 4 strikeouts coming into this third inning, and he'll face the bottom of the Mets order. Wilson Ramos, Ahmed Rosario, and then Steven Matz in the pitcher spot. Wilson Ramos, been around the league. He's a former Washington National, Tampa Bay Ray. He's also played for the Phillies as that pitch is hit towards center field, and Inciarte able to run it down. That's 1 quick out to begin the third inning. We'll take a look at the National League East standings now. Here's just a visual for you of how competitive this division really is so far this year. You have the Nationals and the Phillies tied for first place, 29 and 22 records. The Braves and the Marlins tied for third place with 27 and 26 records. Then you have the Mets in fifth place, 5.5 games back of the Nats and Phillies for the division lead. Here's Ahmed Rosario, 1 out. He stands in now. He's a former top pick of the Mets. And he's been their starting shortstop for a number of years now. definitely excels with his speed and defense. He's never really been a consistent hitter, batting .257 this year entering play. Gets in front of that breaking ball, but fouls it off and falls behind. The count's no balls and 2 strikes. Hit in the air and foul, and the count's 0-2 still. The 0-2 pitch coming one more time to the Mets shortstop. Foul tipped into the mid of Travis d'Arnaud, and that's the second out of the 3rd inning. Sean Newcomb already at 5 strikeouts. And he's been punishing Mets hitters through the first third of this game. Here's Steven Matz. He's batting with 2 outs, and the base is empty.
0-1.
Sean Newcomb, nothing in 1 pitch. Swing and a miss on the breaking ball. Matz was trying to hit that ball, but he got fooled on that pitch. He's quickly down 0-2, and Newcomb working quickly. Just upstairs, the count's 1-2.
I got the count 1-2.
Yeah, Newcomb kind of wanted that pitch, but the strike zone on the screen saw that to be a bit high. One-two pitch. Got him to chase, and that ends the top of the 3rd inning. Sean Newcomb has 6 strikeouts through 3 innings on the mound. Heading to the bottom of the 3rd inning, still no score. The Braves coming to bat. There's Heidi Watney, and I'd honestly love to hear what she'd have to say, but she doesn't typically use her voice unless Matt Vasgersian's here. But oh well, there's the Braves hitting stats. They're good at hitting home runs in terms of NL rankings, and they steal bases as well, but on base percentage and average, not one of the best in the league. Here's Ronald Acuna Jr. standing to the plate, one of the best hitters so far this season among National Leaguers. Counts 0-1. He leads the National League right now in several categories. Home runs is one of them. He has 20 home runs. He's 2nd in the league in hits with 67. He has a .347 average, which is good for second best. He's the runs scored leader in the National League with 46. He has 13 stolen bases, which is good for 3rd best in the NL. And he's 2nd best in on-base percentage with a .433. Oh, he just tacked on another one to his National League leading home run total. That ball is way gone. The Braves are up early 1-0 after Ronald Acuna Jr. just homered off of Steven Matz. Ronald Acuna Jr. now also tied for 5th best in the National League for RBI total. He has 36. Yeah, Matz knew it, and Acuna Jr. knew it as well. 427 feet. This is a ballpark that favors hitters, too, out in center field, or favors pitchers out in center field. The corners are a bit short, but Acuna Jr. really had to muscle up to be able to hit that pitch out. Here's Ozzie Albies. He's 3 for 10 now in the series after flying out in his first at bat. 0-1 pitch. That's inside, but called a strike. The count's 0-2. Ozzie Albies earned the Silver Slugger Award winner. Won the Silver Slugger Award for second baseman last season. Excuse me. Counts 0-2, and he pops that pitch up toward left center field. Running it down is Jeff McNeil, and that's the first out of the bottom of the 3rd.
The first baseman, number 5, Freddie.
So with 1 out, that'll bring up Freddie Freeman. He's 1 for 1. He got the first hit of the game, which was a single. He's now batting .247. On base percentage is .354. He also has 11 home runs. That's down low. The count's 1-0. His 32 runs scored are tied for 9th best in the National League.
Ball inside.
Pitches inside, counts 2-0. I also made a mistake. Freddie Freeman has hit 13 home runs this season. That's good for 4th in the National League. Lined into right field, but right into the shifted outfield. Michael Conforto makes that catch. And now there are 2 outs in the bottom of the 3rd. So Ronald Acuna Jr. hit a home run to begin this half inning. And then the next 2 hitters got out. So now here's Marcell Ozuna. He singled in the 1st inning. And he bats here with 2 outs and the base is empty. 1 run in for the Braves in the bottom of the 3rd. And that's ball 1.
1-0.
He mentioned this in his first at bat, but Marcell Ozuna close
2-0.
to 1,000 hits. And that graphic was a bit inaccurate. He's at 998 now after singling in the 1st. So he's 2 hits away from 1,000. He's been in the majors ever since 2013. Came up with the Marlins, played for the Cardinals for a couple years, and now here he is with the Braves. Even count, 2-2. Here's the pitch from Steven Matz on the ground and foul. Two-two pitch. Here it comes. Outside, the count's full. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Travis d'Arnaud would bat next if Ozuna can reach. Payoff pitch. Chopped foul, and the count will remain full, 3-2. Line to the right side and foul, so we'll do it again. Everything resets, counts full, 3-2. 2 outs, bottom of the 3rd. Braves have a run in the inning. Ronald Acuna Jr. hit a solo home run to begin this half inning.
That's ball 4. Takes a base.
Quality at bat there from Ozuna. Made Matz throw significant amount of pitches and works a walk.
The catcher,
So the Braves have a 2-out base runner.
d'Arnaud.
And coming to the plate now is Travis d'Arnaud. d'Arnaud 1 for 8 in the series. Has a run batted in, but he's 0 for 1 to start the evening. That's strike 1. And Matz gets
0-1
ahead.
the count.
Travis d'Arnaud signed with the Braves this past offseason. He had a breakout year with the Rays last year. Was their starting catcher as they made the postseason, won the wild card game, and took the Astros to 5 games before losing in the division series. But he earned himself a contract with one of the best teams in the National League East. Although they haven't really been playing that way. The Braves won the division last season, but they've struggled in the months of April and May. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Chopped foul, count remains 0-2. The Braves won the National League East in back-to-back years. He swings and misses at that pitch, and that ends the 3rd inning. However, the Braves got a run thanks to this solo home run from Ronald Acuna Jr. A 3rd of this game in the books, and the Braves lead it 1-0 going into the 4th. You're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network, brought to you by MLB The Show 20. I'm Nicholas Callis. Coming into the 4th inning, the top of the Mets order will come to the plate to face Sean Newcomb, Jake Marisnick, Jeff McNeil, and Pete Alonso. Marisnick was a free agent signing from this past offseason. Marisnick played for the Astros previously and was one of the best defensive outfielders. He still is one of the best defensive outfielders in baseball.
Count 0-2.
Signed with the Mets, and he's been a platoon center fielder for them. He typically starts in center when a lefty's on the mound, just to give the Mets a better matchup. He strikes out there, though. Sean Newcomb has reached 7 strikeouts, and we're in inning number 4.
Number 6.
I mean, he seems untouchable right now. 7 strikeouts in 4 innings, or 3 1/3 technically. Here's Jeff McNeil. Pops that pitch up on the first one he sees, and it's up to the outfielders. Ozuna runs that one down. Swanson trusted him to go get it, and he did, and that's out number 2.
Now batting, the first baseman.
Here's our pitch speed comparison now from both starters, brought to you by Topps. Newcomb, 1 mile per hour faster on average than Matz. Just that velocity, that 1 mile per hour faster, is helping Newcomb. Newcomb has been mowing hitters down. Steven Matz has been in a couple of jams through the first 3 innings, and he gave up a solo home run to Ronald Acuna Jr., and now the Mets are down early in this one. Here's Pete Alonso. 2 outs, bases empty for him. Rusnick struck out to begin the inning, and then Jeff McNeil popped out on 1 pitch. And now Alonso hits that pitch well towards center field. Running it down is Inciarte, and a quick inning for Newcomb. He finishes the 4th with 38 pitches thrown. No runs, no hits, nobody left on base. Going to the bottom of the 4th, it's the Braves 1 and the Mets 0. You're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network, brought to you by MLB The Show 20. I'm Nicholas Callis. It's 1-0. The Braves lead it coming into the 4th inning. The Braves got a run last inning. Ronald Acuna Jr. hit a home run, and the Braves have gotten a few hits now off Steven Matz. Matz entering this inning, having thrown 57 pitches. He'll face the 6-7-8 hitters
The center fielder.
to begin this half inning. Ender Inciarte, Johan Camargo, and Dansby Swanson. Inciarte got a hit in his first at bat. Was back in the 2nd inning. And Inciarte led off that 2nd inning as well with a single. Well, the Braves couldn't score. Dansby Swanson hit into a double play. Inciarte hits that pitch into left center field, and that's a leadoff single for him. He's 2 for 2 in this game.
Now batting, the third baseman.
His last hit was rather soft. That one was hit on the line. Nobody out. Inciarte on first. Here's Johan Camargo, switch hitter, batting from the right side. Camargo, no official at bat, but he walked in the 2nd inning. That was his first plate appearance. Outside, counts 2-0. Johan Camargo, we talked about this earlier, but his offensive production lacking, and Austin Riley, one of the Braves' top prospects, made his debut last season, and Braves potentially going to call him up at some point this season. Camargo batting 186 as of today. He has been struggling this season. Runner goes from first, swing and a miss. Inciarte slides, and the throw from Ramos is too late. Stolen base for Ender Inciarte, and he's in scoring position. Yep, just slid in front of Cano's tag. So counts even, 2 balls and 2 strikes on Camargo. On the ground right side, and Cano will throw to Alonso. That's out number 1, but it's a productive out. Inciarte moves from 2nd to 3rd on the play.
The batter, number 7, shortstop, Dansby Swanson.
So with 1 out, Dansby Swanson will come to the plate. He started the year off hot, really breaking out. He's 0 for 1. He grounded into a double play in his first at bat, but he is still the league leader in on base percentage. He has a .447 on base percentage. Also, he's 366. He's batting .366 with runners in scoring position. That pitch misses outside. He's been getting on base, and his average has been high as well. He's 3rd best in the National League with his now .342 average. He's been hitting well, still batting at the bottom of the Braves order, but he's been getting on base. He's been hitting for average, and he's been successful with runners in scoring position. Here's the 2-1 pitch. Strike 2 that finds the outside edge. Counts even 2-2. Two balls, 2 strikes. Ender Inciarte on third base. Inside, and the count's full 3-2. Matz continuing to find problems. He's 1 pitch away from 70 total. 3-2 pitch. Inside, ball 4. So Matt's not in a bad place yet. Sean Newcomb's coming up to the plate. So this is a sacrifice situation for him with second base open. He very well might bunt. He's not going to bunt. He's going to swing. That's a bit surprising. Paul Sewald is now in the Mets bullpen. A slightly shocking move here. So Sean Newcomb's going to swing the bat with runners on the corners. Nothing in 1 pitch. That's down low. Counts even 1-1. So Inciarte's on third base. Dansby Swanson's on first. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Hit in the air and foul. And the count's now 1-2. One-two pitch from Matz. Line drive into right field. That's a base hit. Scoring from third base is Ender Inciarte. Advancing from first to second is Dansby Swanson. And Sean Newcomb just helped himself out. That's an RBI single for him. It's 2-0 Braves. As the lineup turns over, is Ronald Acuna Jr. He fouls that pitch off. That's strike 1. But Sean Newcomb has struck out 7 on the mound, and now he has himself an RBI single and a 2-run lead. Here's the 0-1 pitch. That's strike 2 toward the bottom of the zone. Counts 0-2. Oh, 2 pitch. Just missed low and outside. Counts 1-2. Ronald Acuna Jr. in his last at bat hit a solo home run. That broke the scoreless tie. And after the Sean Newcomb single, it's a 2-run lead for the Braves. That's down low. The count's even 2-2. Two balls, 2 strikes. Here's the pitch. Lined into center field. That's a base hit. Dansby Swanson rounds third as Marisnick gets it into the cutoff man Rosario. Scoring from second base is Dansby Swanson. Newcomb advances to second. And Ronald Acuna Jr. is aboard with an RBI single. It's 3-0. The Braves lead it. So entering play, Ronald Acuna Jr. was down toward the bottom of this top list. He had 35 RBIs. Now he's at 37. That's good for 5th best in the NL. Here's Ozzie Albies. He's 0 for 2 with a couple flyouts. The Braves have gotten to Steven Matz early. Still runners on first and second. Sean Newcomb and Ronald Acuna Jr. have tallied RBIs in this inning. Ronald Acuna Jr. now has 2 RBIs total in the game. And Sean Newcomb helped himself out with 1. Albie's not hitting well with runners in scoring position. His average is under 200. Or it's actually right at 200, excuse me. Counts even 1-1. Steven Matz has thrown 24 pitches this inning. More of them have been strikes than not, but still continues to struggle. One ball, 1 strike pitch. Here it comes to Ozzie Albies, switch hitter batting from the right side. That's down low, counts 2-1. Some other games around the league, or around the division, I should say. The Marlins and Nationals played earlier on today, and the Nationals won by a score of 6-2. And this is the other matchup that features 2 NL East divisional teams. That's grounded to the left side, played by Rosario to Cano, and back to Alonso, double play. That ends the 4th inning. We'll talk more about who's playing from the NL East when we come back, but it's a 3-0 Braves lead going into the 5th. You're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network, brought to you by MLB The Show 20. I'm Nicholas Callis. So this is one of two games today that's being played between two NL East division teams. The Marlins and Nationals played earlier, and the Nationals won by a score of 6-2. And of course, with the Braves and Mets playing each other, that leaves for one other team to be playing today, and that's the Phillies. The Phillies and Rockies are going to play each other later on. We don't have a result for that game yet. But right now, the Phillies and Nationals are tied for first place. So if the Phillies win, the Phillies will be a half game above the Nats. If the Phillies lose, the Phillies will be a half game below the Nats with the Nationals winning today. The Braves with a win will move into a solid third base, with the Braves win, the Braves will move to a solid third place position. And the Marlins will move down to fourth place. If the Mets were to win this game today, the Mets would still be in fifth place. They just move up slightly on the Braves and the Marlins. But it's a 3-0 Braves lead coming into the fifth, and Cano flies out to Ozuna. That's the first out.
Third baseman, J.D. Davis.
So with one out, that'll bring up the number 5 hitter for the Mets, J.D. Davis. Davis is 0 for 1, as are so many other hitters in this Mets lineup. Davis, a former Houston Astro, one of their top prospects, is now the starting third baseman for the Mets. Counts 2-0. That's inside, but called a strike. Counts 2-1. You're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network, brought to you by MLB The Show 20. I'm Nicholas Callis. Davis hits that pitch out toward left field. Back goes Ozuna to the wall. That ball's gone. The Mets are on the board. That's the first hit for the Mets in this game today. It's a solo home run for J.D. Davis, his 10th of the season. The Mets are on the board. It's a 2-run game now. 3-1's the score. So the no-hitter was taken into the fifth with one out. But that home run erases the no-hitter. Erases the perfect game, too. It was a perfect game, and erases the shutout. So one out, a run in. Here is Michael Conforto. Hit in the air, foul territory down the right side. There's Ozzie Albies. He makes the catch. That's out number 2.
Now batting, catcher, Wilson Ramos.
With 2 outs, here's Wilson Ramos. Ramos 0 for 1. He lined out to center field in his first at bat. Now he stands in with 2 outs. The base is empty and a run in.
Nope, that's inside.
1 ball, 1 strike, 2 outs. That's hit foul. The count's 1-2. Wilson Ramos did put together a good at bat in his first one. Hit the ball hard, just blinded right to Ciarte in center field. Soft line drive toward the left side, and that'll go foul. So this plate appearance continues. Sean Newcomb still throwing efficiently. He's just over 50 pitches now, as the 5th inning is coming to a conclusion for him. That's it to Dansby Swanson. He throws to Freddie Freeman. Wilson Ramos out at first, and the top of the 5th inning is over. Meanwhile, J.D. Davis, the enemy of Truist Park right now, solo home run that breaks up the perfect game and the shutout. It's 3-1. The Braves still lead it, though, going to the bottom of the 5th.
Your attention, please. Now,
So Steven Matz is done after 4 full innings pitched. The Mets are going to the bullpen. It's Paul Sewald coming out to pitch in his 17th game. Those are his stats from earlier on in the season. All the games that he's appeared in and the stats he's accumulated. He'll face a dangerous part of this Braves order to begin. 3, 4, 5 hitters due up: Freddie Freeman, Marcell Ozuna, and Travis d'Arnaud. Freddie Freeman 1 for 2. He singled back in inning number 1. And he takes ball 1 outside. The count's 1-0. Freddie Freeman has accumulated a 55.8 WAR through 10 seasons. He was the All-Star starting first baseman last season in the National League. He's been a lifetime Brave, and understandably so, one of the best players in the National League. 3-0's the count. Marcell Ozuna's on deck. Freddie Freeman was also mic'd up the All-Star game last year, and his at-bat against Justin Verlander was hilarious. Just hearing those two talk back and forth.
3 balls, 1 strike.
Unfortunately, there won't be an All-Star game where we can have mic'd up players, but there will be an All-Star game here on MLB Virtual Network as the season goes on. All-Star voting still being accumulated. There will be a home run derby, and there will be an All-Star game. You can look forward to that, though there won't be one because of the coronavirus in real life. You can play pretend and imagine here on MLB Virtual Network and follow it as if it's actually happening. Also, if you're new to this channel, go ahead and subscribe to MLB Virtual Network. You'll get notifications on when we go live, as well as when we upload highlights and results and standings. And you can check out the Twitter page as well, at Virtual MLB, where you'll get more news from that page, as well as the same posts of highlights when we go live. Results and standings updates. All the same, check it out here, MLB Virtual Network on Twitter and on YouTube. There's Marcell Ozuna, 1-1 count. He's 1 for 1. Runner goes from first as that pitch is hit in the air to right field. Going back on it is Conforto, but he's going to play it off the wall. And after that ball had hung up for so long, Freeman had to stop for a second because he didn't know if it was going to fall. Look at him. He stopped there, and that's going to hold Ozuna to a single and hit deep into the right field corner. So with nobody out, here's Travis d'Arnaud. That's upstairs, counts 1-0.
Count 1-0.
One-0 pitch to the starting catcher of the Braves. That's called a strike. Counts even 1-1. The Braves got a run in the third, 2 runs in the fourth, which helped to chase Steven Matz from the game after just 4 innings. And now d'Arnaud hits that pitch toward left field. Running back on it is Jeff McNeil. He makes the catch. Freeman tagged at second, and he doesn't try to advance. That's out number 1.
The center fielder, number 11, Ender Inciarte.
So with 1 out, Ender Inciarte, who's 2 for 2, will come to the plate. He's singled a couple times and scored 1 time when he was on base. Counts 0-1. Ender Inciarte, 316 hitter with runners in scoring position. This is the first time that an Ender Inciarte is not leading off an inning. He led off in the second and the fourth and got a couple singles. Hit in the air to right field. Conforto has that played perfectly. He makes the catch. Both runners didn't tag. They both retreat. So Freeman stays on second. Ozuna stays on first. There's 2 outs in the bottom of the 5th. That'll bring up Johan Camargo. He's batting from the right side of the plate for the first time in this game. He's a switch hitter. Batted righty against Steven Matz in his first 2 plate appearances, but now bats from the left side against the righty Sewald. That's strike 1. So Freeman walked. He's on second. Ozuna singled. He's on first, and Camargo quickly down in the count. No balls and 2 strikes. That misses, and the count's 1-2. Sewald working quickly, and despite giving up a couple base runners, he's been keeping the ball in the strike zone. And as of now, is pitching well. He's a strike away from getting out of the 5th. 1-2 pitch. On the ground right side and foul, and the count remains 1-2. Sewald, this is his first inning out of the bullpen. Steven Matz went 4 full innings and gave up 3 earned runs. 1-2 pitch. Outside, and that evens the count. 2 balls and 2 strikes. On the ground and foul, and the count is even. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Outside, the count's full. 3 balls and 2 strikes, which means that Freeman and Ozuna should be running on the pitch. And the on-base machine, Dansby Swanson, is on deck. Runners go, the payoff pitch. Inside, ball 4. And the inning becomes a bit more tense. The bases are loaded now with 2 outs. One of the best hitters for average this year and one of the best batters at getting on base is coming up to the plate. It's Dansby Swanson. He's 0 for 1 in 2 plate appearances, but he walked in his most recent and later came around to score. That's low, but called a strike. Counts 0-1. Hit the lower part of the zone. So Wald's arms being taxed in this inning. He's at 22 pitches. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Upstairs, that's an even count now. 1 ball and 1 strike.
1 ball, 1 strike.
On the ground right side, there's Cano to play it. And he throws to Pete Alonso, and that ends the 5th inning. So the Braves lead the bases loaded. And the score remains 3-1 going into inning 6. Well, heading into the 6th inning, Sean Newcomb is still on the mound, and he'll face the 8-9-1 hitters in the Mets order. Ahmed Rosario, then the pitcher's spot, and Jake Marisnick. Rosario 1 for 5 in the series. He's 0 for 1 in tonight's ball game. The Mets have 1 hit to this point, and it was on a solo home run by J.D. Davis last inning. On the ground right side, that'll get through. Leadoff single for the Mets. And the potential tying run will come to the plate now. And we'll see what the Mets decide to do. Pitcher spot's up now. Paul Sewald came out of the bullpen last inning. He replaced Steven Matz, the starter. So we'll see what decisions will be made. It will be a pinch hitter coming to the plate.
Number 9,
Brandon Nimmo coming off the bench. Nimmo typically starts in center field. That's only when there's a right-handed pitcher starting a game. But since there's a lefty on the mound, Jake Marisnick is the starting center fielder. But Nimmo coming off the bench anyway to bat in the pitcher's spot. With nobody out and a runner on first. Pitch out.
1-1.
And Ahmed Rosario stays at first. He wasn't running on that pitch. Brandon Nimmo, a 2011 draft pick by the Mets. He's been here for his entire career. Made his debut just a few years ago, and Ahmed Rosario goes from first. Throw down by d'Arnaud is off. And Ahmed Rosario steals second base. He's now in scoring position. 1 ball, 2 strike count on Nimmo. Check swing, but a called strike 3 over the lower outside corner. Sean Newcomb has now struck out 8 batters. That's out number 1. Or watch that, you be the judge. Was that a strike? Nimmo had a gripe on that pitch. Undoubtedly it was close, and that's the first out. Now it's 1-0 on Jake Marisnick, who's been a strikeout victim twice to Newcomb in this game. Here comes the 1-0 pitch. Down low, counts 2-0.
No strikes.
Marisnick now is the potential tying run. Ahmed Rosario on second base. He singled and then stole second. Now it's 3-0. Contact strong. Jeff McNeil is on deck. Here comes the 3-0 pitch. Inside, ball 4. That's a walk. That puts runners at first and second. And Newcomb pitching in a jam for the first time this game.
Now batting, number 6.
He hasn't pitched at all yet with traffic on the base paths. So now the tying run's on first base. Ahmed Rosario's on second. And Jake Marisnick's on first. Here's Jeff McNeil. He's 0 for 2. That's upstairs. That's ball 1. And now the Braves have some action going on in the bullpen. Darren O'Day and Chris Martin warming up. Sean Newcomb went from throwing a perfect game to being in some trouble. That's outside. Counts 2-0. McNeil ahead in the count. Pivotal situation in this game, and Newcomb falls further behind. The count's 3-0. Pete Alonso's on deck. And he's typically not a hitter you want to face with runners in scoring position. That's a strike, counts 3-1. Big spot here for the Mets. They trail by 2. But their go-ahead run stands in the box right now. On the ground right side. That sneaks through the infield, base hit. Albies couldn't make the play. Acuna Jr. throws directly to home. And the throw's just a bit late. Ahmed Rosario scores from second base. Moving from first to second, Marisnick. And aboard at first with an RBI single is Jeff McNeil. And now it's a 3-2 ball game in the top of the 6th. 1 out. Here's Pete Alonso. He takes strike 1. Alonso a power threat. He has 11 home runs this season. 22 runs batted in. Hit 53 home runs a season ago. And he takes strike 2 and he falls behind quickly. No balls and 2 strikes. Oh, 2 pitch from Newcomb. That pitch moved quite a bit, but it's inside. The count's 1-2, and Newcomb's pitch count is spiked in this inning. He's about to throw pitch number 70. One-two pitch. Hit in the air and foul, and the count remains 1-2. Pete Alonso keeps the plate appearance alive. One-two pitch one more time. And he hit him. And now the Braves really have some problems. The bases are loaded with 1 out. The tying run is at third base now. Here's Robinson Cano. He's a .287 hitter on the season. He's 0 for 2 in this game. And he has an opportunity to tie the ball game with at the least a sacrifice fly. Although this season he's a .204 hitter with runners in scoring position. But that statistic doesn't account for sacrifice flies. That's inside. The count's even 1-1. Sean Newcomb went from throwing a masterpiece to putting himself in grave danger. He still struck out 8. He's gotten several swings and misses, but the Mets have stayed more disciplined and have gotten runners on base. They have a run in the inning already. And the bases are loaded with 1 out. Cano falls behind in the count, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Pivotal pitch here for both teams. just a bit outside. A well-placed pitch by Sean Newcomb, but not called a strike, and Cano disciplined enough to lay off. That evens the count, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Hit in the air toward left field. Down the line, Ozuna running after it. He makes the catch. Tagging from third and scoring is Jake Marisnick. And it's a tie ball game here in the top of the 6th. Robinson Cano with a sacrifice fly. They're tied at 3, and Steven Matz is off the hook. He's no longer in line for the loss. And with that, Brian Snitker comes out of the dugout of the Braves and takes the ball from Sean Newcomb. Newcomb pitches 5 2/3 innings. He gave up 3 earned runs. And despite striking out 8 and taking a perfect game into the 5th, he will get a no decision after this start.
Ladies and gentlemen,
coming out of the bullpen is Max Fried. Max Fried coming out of the bullpen, and he wasn't throwing initially. But he's a left-hander coming out of the pen, which is an interesting move. J.D. Davis is the first one he'll face, and J.D. Davis is a right-handed hitter. Michael Conforto, the only lefty to bat until the order recycles, and that pitch hit in the left field, and that ball is gone! Wow! This game just got turned on its head. The scale tips now in the Mets' favor. It is 6-3 on J.D. Davis's second home run of the game. That was a hanging breaking ball, if I've ever seen one. That pitch wasn't a fly ball, it just extended over the wall. That was a line drive, squared up nicely. Here's Michael Conforto. That's strike 1. The Mets lead it now 6-3. And there were 2 runners on base that were Sean Newcomb's responsibility, so the book's closed on him. He gives up 5 earned runs in his start. Max Fried has given up 1 earned run. J.D. Davis is the one he faced, and since Davis scored on his own home run, Fried's already given up an earned run. That misses high. The count's 1-2. Well, you got to feel some pity for Sean Newcomb, who pitched masterfully in the first 5 innings, but fell out here in the 6th. Also credit the Mets offense for staying disciplined, scoring up balls, and being able to take the lead. They were down 3-1 when this inning started. Michael Conforto strikes out there. The top of the 6th inning is over, but J.D. Davis, more or less a hero for the New York Mets. He's homered twice. The second time was in this inning. He hit a 3-run home run, and the Mets have the lead now going to the bottom of the 6th. Here's Brad Brach coming out of the bullpen to pitch for the Mets. In 23 games, he has a .791 ERA.
Your attention, please.
And here's Nick Markakis. He comes off the bench. He'll bat in the pitcher's spot, and he'll lead off the bottom of the 6th. 9-1-2 hitter is due up. Nick Markakis, Ronald Acuna Jr., and then Ozzie Albies. Markakis re-signed with the Braves this offseason. He signed a contract with them in the 2014-15 offseason. And they renewed his contract, though he hasn't started every day because the outfield's been very crowded. But naturally a right fielder. And comes off the bench from time to time and gets some spot starts here and there. But he's a veteran. He's been in the majors for 14 years, 14 seasons. We'll take a look at the Mets bullpen, too. Justin Wilson and Robert Geiselman are in the bullpen now. But Markakis, former Baltimore Oriole, and spent the recent years of his career here in Atlanta. Counts 2-1. Brad Brach used to pitch for the Braves. When the Orioles were working on rebuilding, they sent Brach and Darren O'Day to the Mets, or excuse me, to the Braves. That's grounded to the right side, played by Cano. He throws to Alonso, and that's the first out. So Nick Markakis comes off the bench and grounds out.
Now batting, right fielder,
But Broch and O'Day, along with Kevin Gausman, were sent to the Braves for some prospects that went back to the Orioles. But Broch didn't stay in Atlanta like Darren O'Day did. He signed with the Mets. And here he is pitching now against one of his former teams. There's Ronald Acuna Jr. batting. He takes ball one inside. Acuna Jr., 1 for 6 against Brad Broch. He also homered earlier in the game. He homered back in the 3rd inning. Gave the Braves an early 1-0 lead. The Braves scored in the 3rd and 4th innings. They stranded some runners in the 5th. And now bat here in the 6th, down 3 to the Mets. The Mets looking to keep pace in this division. They're in 5th place right now. The Braves are tied for 3rd place.
I got 2-1 to count.
Tied with the Marlins. The Marlins lost today, so the Braves with a win could move up and secure possession of 3rd place. But the Mets, despite being down 3 early, have really made an effort to stop the Braves from achieving that. Now the Mets have the 3-run lead. 2-2 pitch. Hit in the air and foul. The count stays even at 2. But the Mets with a win today could move further up in the standings because the Marlins lost. Swing and a miss. Brad Broch gets a strikeout, his first since coming into the game, and there are now 2 outs. But the Mets are 5.5 games back of 1st place, in 5th place. The Mets win today. They'll move up to 25 and 28. They're the only team that has a winning percentage under 500 in the NL East, and that's not going to change after today's game. But they could inch closer to 4th place where the Marlins are. Actually, as a matter of fact, if they beat the Braves, then the Braves will move down to 4th place, so the Mets really will be inching closer to the Braves. The Marlins already lost, and their record is set at 27-26 for the day. As Ozzie Albies hits that pitch toward right field, there's Michael Conforto. He makes the catch, and the 6th inning is over. The Braves fail to score or get anybody on base in the bottom of the 6th. After after the second third of this game has ended, it's 6-3. The Braves trail.
Your attention, please.
Trying to get creative with my words, and I'm stumbling upon them. Here's Darren O'Day coming out of the bullpen for the Braves. They'll start off the 7th inning. Max Fried pitched to 2 batters in the 6th inning, one of which hit a home run off him, a 3-run home run to be more specific. That gave the Mets a lead, and then he got the final out, so he was subject to being replaced. Now Darren O'Day will lead off as the pitcher of the 7th inning, and he'll face the bottom of the Mets order, Wilson Ramos, Ahmed Rosario, and then the pitcher spot. Ramos hitless against O'Day. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Swing and a miss. The count's 0-2.
2 to count.
Strike 3 called, well placed over the inside edge. That's 1 out.
The batter, number 1, shortstop Ahmed Rosario.
A well-placed pitch in the high 90s. Now with 1 out, Ahmed Rosario will come to the plate. In the high 80s. That pitch was 88 miles per hour, excuse me. But nonetheless, still 1 out. O'Day not known for high-velocity pitches, but I'm sure you've noticed by now that his arm angle is quite unorthodox. And if you've ever played baseball, I'm sure you understand that gauging a release point on a pitcher is important, but when a pitcher throws from a release point like that, that's not all used. Like, look at that. It's tough to read the pitch out of his hand, I'm certain. That's caused him to have much success in his career. Two-0 pitch. That's foul, and the count's 2-1. 2-1 pitch. That's inside. The count's 3-1. I'll take a look at the live chat, too. Rick Bradford, definitely true. That's why baseball is a funny game. Sean Newcomb went from throwing a perfect game 1 inning to now being on the hook for the loss, pending a Braves comeback. I mean, that's certainly true. Rick, certainly true. Baseball is a cruel, fun, and unorthodox, interesting game, that's for certain. 3-1 pitch. It's outside. Ahmed Rosario works a walk. First base runner off Darren O'Day.
Up next for the Mets.
And so now the Mets have some decision-making to do.
Brad
A
Rock.
pinch hitter, certainly likely,
Ladies and gentlemen,
with the pitcher spot coming up, and yes, that's the case.
hitting for the Mets. Number 12, Eduardo Nunez.
Eduardo Nunez, former New York Yankee, San Francisco Giant, Minnesota Twin, also played for the Boston Red Sox. Now playing for the Mets in his veteran years. He's a versatile player. Hasn't really been an everyday starter with the Mets this season. He typically comes off the bench, will play where he's needed, and he'll get spot starts. A 1 pitch, that misses low, count is even 1-1. The Mets lead 6-3 after they got 5 runs last inning. The Braves led 3-0 at one point. J.D. Davis hit a solo home run to make it 3-1 earlier in the game, and then
Ball, that's out.
several Mets hitters contributed to the 5-run 6th inning. And now here we are in the 7th. Runner on for the Mets, 1 out. Darren O'Day now pitching. 2-1's called a strike. Count is even. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Two ball, 2 strike pitch to the Mets pinch hitter. On the ground and foul. Count remains even 2-2. The mood of Truist Park has gone from excited and intense to now very flat and depressed. Certainly understandable. You got a guy with an 8 strikeout performance mowing down Mets hitters to, in 1 inning, it all just crumbling down. 3-2 pitch, Eduardo Nunez at the plate. That's down low, ball 4. Back-to-back walks issued by Darren O'Day. That puts runners at first and second. Still 1 out.
The center fielder, number 16.
How to bring the top of the order back up for the Mets. Jake Marisnick comes to bat. He's 0 for 2. He walked in one of his plate appearances. Well, just some other news, too. There might be something to get excited about if you're a Braves fan. Marcell Ozuna has 999 hits, and he'll have at least one more at bat before this game ends, so that's something to look forward to.
That's the ball.
And looking at the perspective of the Mets, a team that struggled this season, made a comeback against one of the best teams in the NL East, which is quite impressive. And the Mets have something more cooking here, 1-1. Excuse me, the 1-0 pitch fouled off. Now the count's 1-1.
Ball 2.
Well, that pitch just missed. The count's 2-1. And there's Snitker, manager of the Braves, just giving the umpire a funny look. He wanted that pitch called a strike. Here's the 2-1 now to Marisnick. 3-1's the count. I can understand, too, Darren O'Day's release point. It just baffles me every time I watch it. But I can imagine a lefty can get a better gauge on that release point. But when you're a righty, O'Day kind of hides his arm behind his leg the way he comes set. And then the ball just comes out again. He's throwing in the high 80s only, but like sometimes that's hard to see, and he hasn't been able to find the strike zone over the last 3 hitters he's faced. He's walked 3 straight hitters, which results in the bases loaded for the Mets and the middle of the order coming up to the plate. Jeff McNeil up now. He's 1 for 3. He singled and got himself a run batted in. He contributed in that 6th inning and now bats here for the 2nd straight inning. Jeff McNeil, Pete Alonso, Robinson Cano, the next 3 hitters scheduled to bat. As that pitch is popped into the air toward left field, that's hugging the line. Ozuna makes the catch. Tagging from third and scoring is Ahmed Rosario, and the Mets tack on another run. It is 7-3 here in the 7th inning.
Now batting, the first baseman, Pete Alonso.
Now to bring up Pete Alonso, who's somebody you don't want to face in a spot like this with his home run potential. He can put across 3 runs with 1 swing. Although in this game, he's 0 for 2. He got hit by a pitch and scored last inning. It was the only time he reached base so far. And Alonso, not really the dangerous person in this game. It's really been J.D. Davis that has been hurting the Braves. He's hit 2 home runs in this game, and his second of the 2 was a go-ahead 3-run home run. So Alonso's been relatively quiet as compared to Davis. So you don't want to sleep on Alonso and his power potential. He swings and misses at that pitch. Counts 1 and 2. Darren O'Day just came in the 7th here, and he's given up a run. 2 outs, runners on first and second. Hit in the air towards center field. Back to the wall goes Inciarte, and like right on cue, he just went deep. That's a 3-run home run for Pete Alonso. Don't sleep on this man, folks. His 12th home run of the season. Gives the Mets a strong lead now. It is 10-3. Well, Darren O'Day just came in the 7th. He's already given up 4 runs, 3 of which are on this 3-run home run. Inciarte almost robbed it, but couldn't get up high enough. And with that, Brian Snitker elects to go to the bullpen. Here's Chris Martin.
Number 55, Fred.
In 27 games, he has an ERA of 3.65. He's pitched in 24 2/3 innings, so he's averaging less than an inning pitched in every game he's been in. So he'll pitch now with the bases empty. There's 2 outs in the inning, top of the 7th. The Mets have scored 4 runs in this half inning. Well, I'll give credit to the Mets, that's for certain. Team that was down 3 early just came back and more. It's a 7-run game. Strike 1. The Braves, the former National League Eastern Division winners over the last 2 seasons. They won it in 2018 and 2019. And they've been struggling this season. The Mets have been struggling as well, but have the upper hand in this game. Swing and a miss. The top of the 7th is over, but the Mets get 4 runs in that half inning, 3 of which were scored on this Pete Alonso 3-run home run. After 6.5 innings played, it's the Mets 10 and the Braves 3.
Your attention, please. Now,
here's Robert Geiselman.
Number 65.
He'll come out of the bullpen and pitch for the Mets. He's got a 7-run cushion to work with. After the Mets put up 4 in the top of the 7th. You're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network, brought to you by MLB The Show 20. I'm Nicholas Callis. The middle of the Braves order due up in this half inning. Freddie Freeman, Marcell Ozuna, and Travis d'Arnaud. Well, the Braves offense has been putting pressure on the Mets all game. Just a couple of innings where the Braves pitching failed them, allowed for the Mets to take an astronomical lead almost. There's the Rosario, throws to Pete Alonso. Freddie Freeman's down on 1 pitch. And that's out number 1. Or on 2 pitches, excuse me. But with 1 out, Marcell Ozuna comes to the plate. So this is a moment that many should anticipate, especially for Braves fans. Marcell Ozuna has 999 career hits.
Ball, back down play.
I know that says 997, but that graphic is talking about his hits entering play. Marcell Ozuna is now 2 for 2, so adding that together, he's at 999.
2-0.
He's on the brink of his 1,000th career hit. And pending a Braves comeback, it's unlikely he'll get another at-bat, so this at-bat highly anticipated in this moment.
Ball, 10.
3-0's the count as Geiselman misses.
Ball,
Inside ball 4, no 1,000th career hit in that plate appearance. But Ozuna's on for the third time.
Now batting, catcher, Travis.
Well, from one of our fans in the live chat, the Truth 123. Welcome back to the game. 10-3. The score is 10-3. Certainly unexpected if you tuned into the game early when the Braves had a 3-0 lead and Newcomb was throwing lights out. But if you're like the Truth 123 who's joining us in the later innings, yeah, Sean Newcomb ended up giving up 5 earned runs in the game. His perfect game's gone, although he struck out 8. He is on the hook for the loss, pending the Braves coming back. The Mets are shocking the world in this game, and that's a single for Travis d'Arnaud. Back-to-back base runners for the Braves. Marcell Ozuna walked, and Travis d'Arnaud singled.
Number 11, Ender
That'll bring up Ender Inciarte,
Inciarte.
number 6 hitter in the Braves order. Watch that single again, just right through the right side. Inciarte has a couple singles in this game. He's 2 for 3. And he bats here in a crucial spot. A couple of runners on base. The Braves running out of time to make a comeback. Ground ball right side, played by Alonso, throws to Rosario for 1. And the throw's away by Rosario. Here comes Marcell Ozuna. He scores from second base. And now it's 10-4.
The batter, the third baseman.
So that return throw very well might
Fargo.
be scored an error. That's an out at second. And you see Rosario stopped for a bit, double clutched, waiting for Geiselman to go cover first base, and the throw got away. And that will not be an error. An out was recorded on the play. So that run is earned to Robert Geiselman. With an out on the play, there are now 2 outs in the half inning. Here's Johan Camargo. Ender Inciarte on first base. Camargo switch hitter batting from the left side of the plate.
That ball went out.
And he takes ball 1. Hit in the air toward the left side. And that's foul. The count evens up 1-1. This is game 3 of a 3-game weekend series, and this is the rubber match. So the Mets have a strong upper hand to this point. 1-1 pitch. Line drive or short ground ball, bobbled a bit by J.D. Davis. He recovers in time, throws to Alonso. And Camargo's out at first. That ends the 7th inning. The Braves get a run, though, on a few hits. And after 7 full innings, it's the Mets 10 and the Braves 4. You're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network, brought to you by MLB The Show 20. I'm Nicholas Callis. Here's J.D. Davis. This is his second of 2 home runs he's hit today. This one was a 3-run home run that gave the Mets the lead. It was 6-3 at the time. Now it's 10-4, and demonstrating exactly how poor the Braves pitching has been in this game. If you saw the scoreline before the inning ended, you saw that the Braves scored 4 runs on 9 hits. But the Mets score line was quite unconventional. The Mets have scored 10 runs on 5 hits.
1-1.
Pete Alonso being an exception, he got hit by a pitch, but there have been several walks issued by Braves pitching, which has yielded the Mets
That's ball 2.
to get base runners, and then their hitters capitalized on opportunities with runners on base and ended up scoring.
2-2 to count.
Counts even 2-2 on the Mets' third baseman. Chris Martin came in last inning, and now he's pitching in his second inning, and that pitch is hit to center field, base hit. Ender Inciarte plays it, and will get it in quickly. J.D. Davis now has 3 hits in this game.
Up next for the Mets, the right fielder, Michael Conforto.
That pitch was low in the zone. That wasn't a bad pitch by Chris Martin. Spotted it well. Davis just did a better job of squaring it up. Here comes Michael Conforto. That's inside. The count's 1-0. Michael Conforto, one of a few Mets hitters that does not have a hit in this game. He struggled this season in terms of average as well. Entering play, his average was under 200.
1-1.
And unless he gets a hit in this plate appearance, it will continue to go down. 1-1 pitch. Swing and a miss. The count's 1-2.
1 ball, 2 strikes.
J.D. Davis on first base. The 1-2 pitch coming to Michael Conforto. Swing and a miss. Blew it right by him. 98 miles per hour. 1 out.
The catcher, number 40, Wilson.
Now that was pretty much a challenge fastball. It's right over the heart of the plate. Chris Martin said hit it, and Michael Conforto could not. Now with 1 out, here is Wilson Ramos. That hits the lower part of the zone. That's strike 1. Ramos is 0 for 3. Another of a few hitters that hasn't gotten a hit in this game. 0-1 pitch from Chris Martin. That misses high. The count's even 1-1. And Martin consistently throwing in the high 90s. 1-1 pitch. That's inside. The count's 2-1. Two-one pitch. Hit in the air and foul. The count's even 2-2. The Braves pitching. Sean Newcomb, the starter, struck out 8. Went into the 6th inning. Let up a couple runners on base. Then Max Fried came in and almost immediately gave up a 3-run home run as Wilson Ramos strikes out there. Then the Mets had a 6-3 lead. Darren O'Day came in the 7th. Walked the bases loaded and ended up giving... Darren O'Day walked the bases loaded, and all the runners that got on ended up scoring in some capacity. And that's now lead by a wide 10-4 margin. Here's Ahmed Rosario, who's 1 for 2. Also walked earlier on in the game. One-zero pitch from Chris Martin. Pitching in his second inning out of the bullpen. That misses outside. Counts 2-0. That finds the zone. The count's 2-1. The Braves, after this game, will start a 3-game series with the Cardinals beginning tomorrow as that pitch has popped up. There's Ozzie Albies. He makes the catch, and that ends the top of the 8th. The Mets get no runs on a hit and leave 1 runner on base. Going to the bottom of the 8th inning, it's the Mets 10 and the Braves 4. You're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network, brought to you by MLB The Show 20. I'm Nicholas Callis. Dansby Swanson up to the plate. And Robert Geiselman on the mound. Geiselman pitched last inning. Gave up a run. Now he's pitching here in the 8th. Ground ball left side, played by Rosario. Sets his feet and throws, but that's late. Dansby Swanson beats out the infield single, and he's aboard to lead off the bottom of the 8th inning.
The pitcher, number 55.
So more clearly looking at the road ahead for both teams. The Braves will finish up a 6-game homestand with a 3-game series against the Cardinals that begins tomorrow as Tyler Flowers comes off the bench. He'll pinch hit for the Braves. Meanwhile, the Mets will have an off day tomorrow, and then we'll finish up their road trip with a 3-game series at Citizens Bank Park to play the Phillies. And then they'll start a homestand against the Dodgers. That'll begin on Friday. That pitch misses outside. The count's 1-0 to Tyler Flowers. Flowers formerly played for the Chicago White Sox, now plays for the Braves. He's their backup catcher. He was their starter in and out over a few seasons, but with Travis d'Arnaud being signed in the offseason and d'Arnaud having the breakout season that he did last year, Flowers was moved back into a backup role. Still a talented catcher, though, but the Braves putting more faith and more money into Travis d'Arnaud to be their starting catcher. Geiselman fall behind. 3-ball, no strike pitch coming to Tyler Flowers. That finds the zone. The count's 3-1.
Count is 3-1.
Line drive and foul. That pitch was right over the middle of the plate, but Flowers couldn't get a hold of it. And the count's full, 3 balls and 2 strikes. And yes, if you're a fan like Eric Letford of the Cardinals and Braves are playing each other in a 3-game series. That pitch is swung on and missed. That's out number 1. But they'll be playing each other in that 3-game series, and one of those games will be covered here on Major League Baseball's virtual network on Tuesday night at 7:20. The Cardinals and Braves are playing each other. A rematch of the National League Division Series of last season, or last postseason, as Ronald Acuna Jr. comes to the plate.
Inside, ball 1.
And it's just amazing how baseball works like that, too. The Cardinals got a sacrifice fly at home to extend the series to a 5th game, and in Atlanta, the Cardinals put up 10 runs on the Braves early and ended up winning and moving on to the championship series, of course losing to the Nationals, but I mean, that division series was one to remember. Ground ball right side. There's Alonso. Throws to Rosario for 1. And the return throw to Geiselman is in time. That's a double play. And the Braves fail to score in the 8th inning. Moving into the 9th, it's the Mets 10 and the Braves 4.
Your attention, please.
Coming out of the bullpen for the Braves is Luke Jackson.
Number 77.
In 24 2/3 innings pitched, he has a 5.84 ERA. He's typically their long relief pitcher, but so many pitchers have been thrown into the game from the Braves bullpen today that he'll be in charge of just getting some outs, and Brian Snitker having faith that he will do that. There's Jed Lowry. He comes off the bench to bat for the Mets. Switch hitter batting from the left side. Formerly a part of the Boston Red Sox, the Oakland Athletics, played for the Houston Astros, too, for a short period of time. Now here with the Mets, a veteran presence. The Mets signed him in hopes that this team could be turned around. He struggled with injuries last season. That was the first year of his contract, and now he is here and healthy. The Mets have been relying heavily on veterans mixed with young talent to put together a ball club.
3 balls, 1.
And last year they were close to making playoffs. They finished 3rd in the National League East. But the Nationals just had a strong push late in the season. As that pitch is flown out to left field, Marcelo Ozuna catches it. Jed Lowry's out.
The center fielder, number 16, Jake Marisnick.
And with one out, top of the order comes up Jake Marisnick to bat. That's outside. The count's 1-0. Oh, speaking of the Nationals, their late postseason or their late season push, and then their historic postseason run and their World Series winning team. I don't know if you've checked their Twitter page recently, but the Nationals are reminding the world of 19-31, and that's the reference to their record. In mid-May, early June, they were 19-31. And they ended up coming back, earning the top wild card spot in the league, and then going on to win the World Series, beating the Dodgers, the Cardinals, and the Astros. Swing and a miss. Jake Marisnick's down on strikes. Luke Jackson's first strikeout of his outing. There are now 2 outs.
The batter, number 6.
But Nationals Nation reminding everybody that they beat the odds and won the World Series, so good for them. But another 2 outs, that'll bring up Jeff McNeil. Luke Jackson pitching in his first inning, and so far he's gotten 2 straight outs. Jeff McNeil is 1 for 3. He also has a run batted in. On the ground left side, Camargo bobbles it a bit, recovers, throws to Freeman. McNeil's out at first, and Luke Jackson pitches a scoreless top of the 9th. Last chance for the Braves coming in the bottom of the 9th inning. It's 10-4. The Mets lead the Braves.
Your attention, please.
Here's Jeurys Familia coming out of the bullpen to pitch for the Mets.
Number 27, Jeurys.
In 25 games, he has a 4.38 ERA. It really isn't certain who the Mets closer is on the team.
Leading up for the Braves,
Edwin Diaz was the closer coming into 2019, but
Ovi.
he struggled last year and got removed from his closer's role. And Familia was the closer of the Mets for a few seasons before he went and played for the Athletics.
The first baseman, number 5, Freddie.
But anyway, this isn't a safe situation. It's a 6-run game. So Familia just coming in, and his objective is to get 3 outs before the Braves could score 6 runs. Ozzie Albies, he flew out to center field. So 1 quick out. Here's Freddie Freeman. That misses inside. The count's the count's 1-0. Well, staying on the discussion of the Nationals, Eric Ledford, that's a good point. And I saw an interview with Bryce Harper. Eric Ledford said all that great pitching the Nationals had. And that's actually, it is true, and it's verified by several players who have played for the Nationals. But Bryce Harper went out publicly and said it. He was talking about his decision-making in free agency, and he was talking about how the Nationals went out, and it almost seemed like out of nowhere that the Nationals signed Patrick Corbin. And Harper was talking about how he knew that the Nationals were always 1 pitcher away from winning it all, and when they signed Patrick Corbin, that was a big part of them winning the World Series. That's certainly a true point. Nationals' great pitching, and their offense was good enough to earn them a World Series championship, first in their franchise history. Counts full 3-2 now on Freddie Freeman. Swing and a miss. Freddie Freeman was out in front of 96 miles per hour. A 96-mile-per-hour sinker.
The left fielder, number 20.
And now there are 2 outs. The Braves with 1 out to work with. They're still down by 6 runs. And here comes Marcell Ozuna. Another highly anticipated at bat. We've been talking about it for most of the game. He came into this game with 997 hits, career hits. And he went 2 for 2. So Ozuna is one hit away from career hit number 1,000. He's 2 for 2 with a walk. He's been perfect today. Ball's behind to the count, no balls and a strike. Chopped foul, the count's 0-2. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Doesn't chase, the count's 1-2. Ozuna with an opportunity right here to put a ray of sunshine into this rather gloomy day for the Braves. Ground ball up the middle, that's a base hit. And look at that, career hit number 1,000 for Marcell Ozuna.
Now batting, catcher, Travis d'Arnaud.
That right there was Marcell Ozuna's 1,000th career hit. Here's Travis d'Arnaud.
Count 1-0.
He is now the final chance for the Braves. He's 1 for 4. He singled in his last at bat. So something for Braves fans to take away from this game. Sure, they blew a lead and Sean Newcomb imploded around the 6th inning. But Marcell Ozuna stands on first base after hitting his 1,000th career hit. And he went 3 for 3 on this day as well.
That's ball 3.
Just adds to a great day for him and a milestone in his career. Three balls, no strikes. Bottom of the 9th inning, Familia's fallen behind d'Arnaud. That's inside, called a strike, counts 3-1. Now, Travis d'Arnaud used to catch Jeurys Familia. These two were teammates for a number of years. They were also a battery combination that was a part of that World Series Mets team in 2015 when they went to the World Series and then lost to the Royals. Full count pitch. Runner goes from first. On the ground and foul, or behind the plate. Chopped foul. Count remains full, 3-2. Payoff pitch one more time. Ozuna expected to run from first. There he goes again. Called strike 3 over the lower inside corner, and that ends the ball game. Well, some history in this game, and some good pitching in some places, not so great pitching in others. And some Mets with the long ball, a comeback, and a win against their NL East divisional rivals, the Braves. So the Mets win this series. They won 2 out of 3 games. This was the rubber match of a 3-game series. The Mets continue to move closer up the standings, with the Marlins losing today and the Braves losing today. So the Mets improve to 25-28, and the Braves fall to 27-27. The Braves move down a half game now on the Marlins. The Braves are now in 4th place, 3.5 games back of first place, and the Mets are now 25-28. And they're 4.5 games back of first place. Still in 5th place, but inching closer as both these teams move into another series. The Mets will play the Phillies. They'll get a rest day tomorrow. They'll start a 3-game series with the Phillies on Tuesday. Meanwhile, the Braves will be playing soonly after this game tomorrow. The Braves will start a 3-game series with the Cardinals. Well, there's your final line score there at the top of the screen, as well as some notable players. J.D. Davis, the best of all of them. He's the player of the game for hitting 2 home runs in this game. He broke up Sean Newcomb's perfect game in the 5th inning and then hit a home run in the 6th inning, a 3-run home run that gave the Mets a 6-3 lead. And after that point, the Mets kept the lead and won the ball game. You've been watching Major League Baseball's virtual network, brought to you by MLB The Show 20. I'm Nicholas Callis. Be sure to tune in tomorrow. We've got 3 more ball games for you, 3 guaranteed games every day. The White Sox versus the Orioles will be played at 1:05. The Dodgers and Rockies game That'll be played at 4:10, and then the Royals and Red Sox will be featured at 7:10. But follow us on Twitter at VirtualMLB for more news and other updates on the league. Also, if you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel yet, I'd recommend that just to get notifications on when we go live, as well as when we upload highlights and results and standings updates. But with that, I'm Nicholas Callis saying so long from Truist Park in Atlanta, Georgia. Once again, the final score, the New York Mets 10 and the Atlanta Braves 4.